Voting gets underway in the U.S. presidential election, with Kamala Harris and Donald Trump evenly splitting the first votes counted in New Hampshire. Both candidates made their final pitch for support at Battleground states in the final stretch of the election. And the death toll in Lebanon crosses 3,000 in a 13-month Israel-Hezbollah war. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Election Day 2024 arrived Tuesday in the U.S., with tens of millions of Americans having already cast their ballots. But for one small town, voting has already finished, and the results could not be closer, an even split. The small town of Dixville Notch, New Hampshire, has a tradition dating back to 1960 for being the first in the nation to complete in-person voting. After a rousing accordion version of the national anthem, the town's 6 voters began casting their ballots at the stroke of midnight, and counting was completed 15 minutes later. The results were evenly split: 3 votes for Donald Trump and 3 votes for Kamala Harris. Record numbers of voters have turned out to cast their ballots in Georgia, North Carolina, and the Battleground states that could decide the election. Republican Donald Trump and Democrat Kamala Harris both predicted victory as they campaigned across Pennsylvania and other Battleground states on Monday, in a final frantic day of an historic close election. Tracy Furness has more.
Democratic nominee Kamala Harris kicked off election eve with a Get Out the Vote event in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Are we ready to do this? We're ready to get out the vote. We're ready to win.
She went on to relate her humble beginnings campaigning outside grocery stores. She talked about once being a long shot while running for San Francisco District Attorney in 2002.
And I'd walk to the front of the grocery store outside, and I'd stand up my ironing board, because you see, an ironing board makes a really great standing desk. And I'd use the duct tape to tape my posters on the outside of the thing, and I'd put my flyers on top of the ironing board, and I would require people to talk to me as they walked in and out of the grocery store.
Later, Harris went door to door in Reading, Pennsylvania, accompanied by 2 campaign volunteers.
Well, you got my photo ready.
Flanked by Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro and New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Harris mingled with diners in a Puerto Rican restaurant in Reading. Former President Donald Trump made his final pitch to voters at rallies Monday in the same parts of Pennsylvania as his opponent, making this speech in Pittsburgh.
My message to Americans tonight is simple. We do not have to live this way. We don't. We don't. And we won't. We won't. We do not have to settle for weakness, incompetence, decline, and decay. With your vote tomorrow, we can fix every single problem our country faces and lead America, and indeed the whole world, to new heights of glory.
As of Monday, Associated Press tracking of advance voting nationwide showed roughly 82 million ballots cast, slightly more than half the total number of votes cast in the presidential election 4 years ago. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
The Democratic and Republican parties have spent billions of dollars in advertising, over 10% more than the 2020 election. Both parties have concentrated their resources in 7 key swing states. Trevor Lee visited 2 of these battleground states and talked to the voters there.
How unpredictable are voters' intentions in the U.S. swing states? Many people we talk to say they will make decisions based on the issues they care about rather than party affiliation.
I want the new president able to help the people that are really in need, like beyond the people like that are homeless, but I'm talking about more like the single moms that need the help, because it's not easy out here. Everything is so expensive.
Some people say they won't vote for Trump or Harris.
I don't feel particularly inspired by either candidate, personally. I really hope that Trump doesn't win, but I don't support Kamala Harris's stance on the genocide in Gaza.
Since the 1950s, Republicans have won in Arizona 16 out of 18 presidential elections. Some are concerned whether Arizona's increasing Latino voter population in recent years will benefit the Democratic Party. Pennsylvania, analysts believe, holds the key to the upcoming election. Its diverse industries and ethnicities make it the most unpredictable among the swing states. A must-win battleground, Pennsylvania tops other swing states in campaign spending, and it is the first state where political ad spending in the current electioneering has surpassed the $100 million mark.
I don't think I'm necessarily affected by it, other than just seeing it everywhere.
Those are sound bites. It really takes research and time, and they are often distorted, and they don't usually represent. It really depends on the commercial, though. There are some that are accurate, some that aren't, on both sides.
Some say that regardless of how hard candidates campaign, voters have already made up their minds. Pennsylvania has 19 electoral votes, the most among the 7 key swing states. It's one of the 3 blue wall states considered to have a solid advantage for the Democrats. However, Trump's victory in Pennsylvania in 2016 was the first for a Republican presidential candidate in about 30 years. Trevor Lee, TVB News, Philadelphia.
Donald Trump's campaign will host an election night watch party in Palm Beach, Florida, starting early Wednesday, Hong Kong time. Eagerly awaiting the vote counting results, Trevor Lee is now in Florida and filed this report.
As the final stretch of the election unfolds, Trump supporters are passionately urging people to come out and vote.
Vote to vote to vote. He's going to win. We're taking back America again. The world will see us. That's who we are, strong. We are really strong people. But without Trump, we're nothing. We're very weak. You know that, Biden. Fire Biden.
We have a few bad comments from the cars. Most of them are beeping, so we're having a great time showing our support. I just know that he's going to improve what we've been having a problem with for the past 4 years. We don't like it, we're just supporting the other side that we like.
Florida has solidified its status as a Republican stronghold. Trump previously won 29 electoral votes here and is expected to secure all 30 this time around. On election night, Trump will gather with family and supporters at the Palm Beach County Convention Center to await the results. Recently, while he was golfing in the same area, a man pointed a rifle at the golf course, sparking suspicions of an assassination attempt. As a precaution, security has been significantly heightened around the venue of the watch party. Temporary barriers have been set up, similar to those in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump held his election night watch party in New York and Washington, D.C. respectively in 2016 and 2020. This time, he has chosen Florida as the venue, which is just a 10-minute drive from his home at Mar-a-Lago. Trevor Lee, TVB News, Florida.
TVB Pearl will carry live coverage of the U.S. election by NBC News starting at 6 a.m. Hong Kong time tomorrow. A Pennsylvania state judge has allowed billionaire Elon Musk's $1 million a day giveaway to swing state voters to proceed. But a lawsuit says the giveaway violates state consumer protection laws. With a tightly contested U.S. presidential election between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, lawyers for Musk's pro-Trump America PAC sought to persuade the judge that the contest was not an illegal lottery. Tesla CEO Musk has already given away $16 million to registered swing state voters who qualify for the giveaway by signing his political petition pledging to support free speech and gun rights. Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner called the sweepstakes a scam designed to actually influence a national election and asked that it be shut down. The judge denied Krasner's bid in a written order after Musk's lawyers said the winners are paid spokespeople and not chosen by chance.
We're in court today because some district attorney in Philadelphia wants to silence Elon Musk for supporting Donald Trump. Let me be clear about one thing. No district attorney, no prosecutor, I don't care how powerful they are, can take away the First Amendment freedoms that are the bedrock of this nation. We don't back down from bullies. We don't allow our rights to be trampled upon by partisan agendas masquerading as legal arguments. In the end, truth will not be bullied, and neither will my client.
Israel hit sites in Gaza and Lebanon, with casualties reported in both locations. Palestinians say strikes killed at least 10 people today as the IDF targets Hamas in Gaza. Amid continuing fighting with Hezbollah in Lebanon, medics there put the death toll since the conflict started at more than 3,000. David Garrett reports.
Parents grieve a son, another dead boy in Gaza. His brother covers his face, weeping by his parents' side. The victim was a talented artist, according to his aunt, who says he was on his way to pick up food when he was hit by a blast. Unidentified, he died on his 11th birthday. Doctors say Israeli strikes also hit displaced groups in Deir al-Balah, with a family of 4 killed in Gaza City. Air raid sirens ring out in Haifa, an almost daily event in Israel's northern coastal town. The Israeli military says 2 rockets were intercepted. Lebanon-based Hezbollah has been firing salvos since Israel's invasion of Gaza. No injuries were reported. Lebanon's health ministry has put the death toll there at more than 3,000 during the months of fighting. Violence ratcheted up a month ago, with Israel sending troops across the border following the assassination of Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah. The IDF says it killed 2 more top commanders this week. Devastation in places like Baalbek has been extensive, buildings left in ruins. Residents say a popular restaurant has been dismantled. Israeli troops intensifying bombardments there and elsewhere announced they have eliminated terrorists, destroying compounds designated for infiltration. Israeli footage in southern Lebanon shows troops and tanks making gains, firing at what they say are Hezbollah weapons stores and military sites. The Lebanese Health Ministry reports more than 13,000 have been injured during the last year. United Nations figures calculate more than 1 million people in Lebanon have fled their homes in fear. David Garrett, TVB News.
The UK's new Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson has announced the first rise in university tuition fees in England for 8 years, as part of a major reform in higher education. Starting from April 2025, the maximum annual tuition fees for full-time domestic undergraduate students in England will rise 3.1%, from £9,250 to £9,535, in line with inflation. This, as Phillipson stressed, universities had suffered real terms decline in income due to frozen tuition fees. Meanwhile, fees for international students will remain unchanged. Phillipson also announced a rise of £414 per year in maximum maintenance loans to help students manage the living costs. She said the government will announce further major reform for long-term university investments in the next few months. And still ahead, Premier Li Qiang pledges a further opening up to trading partners at the China International Import Expo in Shanghai. Word that the 3-runway system at Hong Kong International Airport will be fully opened later this month. And an 82-year-old man plunges to his death while cleaning an air conditioner rack at his apartment. Welcome back. Premier Li Qiang has pledged a broader opening up to trading partners at the 7th China International Import Expo in Shanghai. He warned of the rising unilateralism and protectionism and called on all parties to honor their commitments to opening up with real actions. Danny Zhou reports.
The opening ceremony of the latest edition of the China International Import Expo, or CIIE, was held today, drawing leaders from Malaysia, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan and Mongolia. Noting this year's record number of participating countries and exhibitors, Premier Li Qiang stressed in his keynote speech that CIIE stands as a telling example of China's steadfast opening up. Li said China is committed to easing market access in the fields of telecommunication, education, culture and medical care. The Premier expressed his confidence that China will achieve its economic goals, lauding Beijing's recent stimulus measures. There is ample space for fiscal and monitoring policies, he said, and macroeconomic regulation practices will be more targeted and effective. Li also vowed to beef up policy support for improving the business environment and provide equal opportunities in accessing production factors, qualification licensing and participation in government procurement. And China will look to upgrade its free trade zones and explore free trade and investment agreements with other nations. The 7th CIIE, which will run through November the 10th, has attracted nearly 3,500 companies and institutions from around the world. Hong Kong is making a strong presence this year. 2 dedicated pavilions are showcasing a wide range of products and services from 52 Hong Kong firms. The SAR's Chief Executive John Lee today led a government delegation to tour the exhibition area to show their support. Lee later attended the Shanghai Forum of the 2024 Hong Kong Investment Promotion Conference to drum up investment and promote cooperation between the two cities. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
Acting Financial Secretary Michael Wong today said the 3-runway system at Hong Kong International Airport will be fully opened on November 28th. Wong said with the launch of the new system, the airport will be able to handle 120 million passengers and 10 million tons of cargo annually. Mimo Sengai reports.
After 13 years of construction work at a cost of $141.5 billion, the 3-runway system has finally been completed and will be put into service on November 28th. Speaking at the Super Terminal Expo, Acting Financial Secretary Michael Wong said the launch of the system will further enhance the city's status as an aviation hub.
We'll eventually be able to handle 120 million passengers and 10 million tons of cargo every year. In the last financial year, our airport handled 45 million passengers and 4.5 million tons of cargo. So the increases brought about by 3RS are very substantial.
Vivian Zhang, Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Airport Authority, said travelers will experience other upgrades of the airport and the surrounding area in the future.
Other facilities of the airport city are opening in phases in the coming year. The airport city will become an iconic landmark in the Great Bay Area and attract visitors from all around the world.
To celebrate the completion of the 3-runway system project, a 10 km international race will be held on the center landing field on November 17th. A total of 12,000 runners will join the event, including 4 world-class female athletes. Minus 9, TVB News.
The inaugural Super Terminal Expo is being held at Asia World Expo over these 3 days. More than 100 international airlines, airport operators, and tech companies are taking part in the event. The 3-day Super Terminal Expo is being staged as the government sets its sights on the development of the low-altitude economy in Hong Kong.
These are not just about improving speed and efficiency. It's about creating a safe and stress-free experience for our passengers before and after each time when they fly.
Super Terminal Expo promises to be a hub of knowledge, networking, and innovation.
Also at the event was Acting Financial Secretary Michael Wong, who helms the task force on developing the low-altitude economy. Showcased there are drones that serve not just in performances, but also in delivering food in the mainland. This drone, boasting a larger carrying capacity, is used to transport people. As an unmanned vertical aerial vehicle, it can carry 2 passengers with control panels stationed on the ground. It is introduced from the mainland by a company owned by a non-franchise bus operator in Hong Kong. The managing director of Kwun Chung Smart Travel said the application of the low-altitude economy is very wide, from firefighting to cleaning exterior walls of buildings. He said the flying machines can also be used in adverse weather conditions, including typhoons, black rainstorms, and landslides for rescue work. With the application of drones and unmanned aerial vehicles in Hong Kong still under discussion, Meituan's UAV Policy Compliance Director believes more development could be on the way when there is more clarity in government policies and when restrictions are eased. In addition to drones, the Super Terminal Expo showcases the domestically made wide-body aircraft C929 and a low-altitude surveillance radar. An 82-year-old man died after falling from a building. Sources say the deceased was cleaning an air conditioner rack before tragedy struck at around 9 a.m. Police cordoned off the area at New Kwai Fong Gardens in Kwai Chung after the incident. The man was pronounced dead at the scene. And that's the news. Thank you for watching.